Hey, what's happening, everybody? This is Elite Kicks back with the weekly video. And boy, are we going to have a very interesting set of 2 weeks. As the NBA All-Star Game approaches, Nike, Jordan Brand, they're going to be flushing out their best releases. On the horizon is the possibility of the lost and found restock actually happening. Before we jump into that, guys, we're going to be talking about the Jordan 4 SEAFOAM. What exactly is happening with that shoe? We're going to talk about the Jordan 4 Craft. Why does Foot Locker only have it in LA? Finish Line doesn't even have it on the calendar. And we're also going to just have a very small preview about the Jordan 1 Black and White 85 High. Finally, we're going to be wrapping up with the possibility of the lost and found restock. I know I've been talking about it in every single video. With the NBA All-Star Game approaching, we have to keep in mind about the possibility of a Jordan Reserve, and I'll give you my analysis about why I believe now is the time for the lost and founds to actually restock, or this just may be one of those shoes that we never see again. With that, guys, we're going to jump into today's video. First and foremost, we're going to be talking about the Jordan 4 SEAFOAM. Why is it when you log on to Foot Locker to do the Foot Locker reservation, shipped to me just loaded up today, this is Monday, February 6th, the biggest size they have is a women's 10. It's an 8.5 men's. Why do they not go up to a women's 12? What exactly is going on there? What's going with Finish Line exclusive access? Well, I've got all the answers for you right here, guys. First and foremost, if you remember, last year, Nike put out a lot of information that they were going to be pulling back a lot of supply that they would sell to Foot Locker, Finish Line, all their stores, and they were actually going to be selling it themselves on the sneakers app, and they're going to be pushing it out at their local stores. That they're opening so many more stores, and they opened a lot of stores last year. The reason they did that is because they're pulling back a lot of their supply. That's one thing that's going on. The second thing, obviously, is shipping delays, but I honestly truly believe that what we're going to see now going forward, probably this year and later into this year, is that a lot of stock is going to be on the sneakers app. A lot of stock is going to be at Nike stores. Now, that's not necessarily a good thing. As something I've talked about a lot, I've talked about in my Discord group, bots have been killing the sneakers app. I don't know what Nike is doing, but there is little to no protection. Honestly, the best advice I can give is all the tips that I've previously provided, but I'm also going to say you need a lot of accounts. Even having 5-6 accounts at this stage is probably not going to be sufficient. You're going to need upwards of 7, 8, 9, 10 accounts to even give yourself a chance to cop. If you follow the tips that I've talked about, going for a consistent size range, establishing that size range, going for that size range, and having multiple accounts, you will dramatically increase your chances. So, Finish Line exclusive access. Call your local Finish Lines. Some Finish Lines actually have stock. They may be doing an in-store raffle. It may get delayed, but there is no harm in actually calling your Finish Lines and figuring out what exactly they are doing. It's possible that we may see later this week, and when I mean later this week, either February 7th today, or it could happen tomorrow, February 8th. The one thing that you may have a shot at is Finish Line on the day of the release. Stock's going to be limited, but there's no problem in waiting in the queue and trying to process and trying to get through the queue. Hibbett Sports has it up on their calendar. That's another option as well. Now let me jump to February 11th, the Jordan 4 Craft. A lot of people were hating on this shoe early on, but as I've seen on Twitter recently, a lot of people are like, I need this shoe, I need this shoe, I need this shoe. Let me just say, again, it's not on Finish Line's calendar. There's one store in Foot Locker getting them, and that's the LA Foot Locker, and that's it. What does that mean? Shipping delays, possibly. I again think Nike is keeping most of their stock. And this leads me to the other point. The stock for both the SEAFOAMs and the Craft that are going to be loaded up on the sneakers app, that have loaded up on the sneakers app, is actually going to be dramatically higher than what we've seen for the prior 4s. And the reason for that, again, is Nike is keeping more of their stock. That is a very critical point everyone has to understand going into 2023. And if you guys are looking for those critical tips on sneakers, how to cop on sneakers, the Discord community that we've created is great just to be able to increase your chances on sneakers. A lot of people have great information. I provide information. Everyone contributes to the group, and it's a great community. The next thing I wanted to talk to you guys about is a Jordan 1 black and white. I want to preview this a little bit because next week we're really going to dive into a how to cop. What I want to talk to you guys about today is, look guys, this is a Jordan 1 85 high. This is most likely not going to be on Finish Line. I'm going to say it's not going to be on Finish Line. Foot Locker may have an LA store and that's it. But think of the Jordan 1 highs that dropped last year. Jordan 1 high 85s that dropped last year. The Georgetowns. It was on the sneakers app and it was on some boutique stores. That's what you're going to see again this year. And it's going to be a limited release. That's why it's also loaded up as a draw on sneakers. Which actually reminds me, the Craft and the SEAFOAM 4s are both loaded up as Leo drops, basically mini draws, 2 to 3 minute draws, and that's it. Don't forget to tune in next week. We're going to be talking about the Jordan 1 black and whites, how to cop, how to increase your chances on sneakers, and how to actually win at one of these boutique stores. The last thing I want to talk about is the upcoming NBA All-Star Game. If you remember last year, after the NBA All-Star Game, on that Monday following the NBA All-Star Game, we actually got a shock drop of the Jordan 6 UNCs. Now, I'm not going to sit here, I'm not going to tell you that that's when the lost and founds are going to drop. But if you look at the way that Jordan reserves work, it usually happens about every 3 months or so. Again, we're in that time frame for when a Jordan reserve is supposed to happen. If it's going to happen, we're going to see it before the All-Star Game or right after the All-Star Game. And that is my prediction. Now, if we don't see it at that time and we see another bunch of, we see a Jordan reserve without the lost and founds, this is another shoe that may just never drop. Similar to the Travis Scott Fragment highs, which were loaded up but just never dropped for whatever reason. With that, guys, that is the end of the video for today. Next week's video, we're going to be talking about the Jordan 1 High 85 black and white how to cop. This is Elite Kicks signing off. Take care, everybody.